Welcome to another installment in our SAMCO Power Accounting Tips and Tricks video series. A common question that we get quite often is how to deal with products that are obsolete, whether they're no longer in your inventory, you don't sell them anymore, they've been discontinued, replaced, whatever the case may be. Whatever is obsolete to you, and you don't want them to show up anymore in your lookups. In SAMCO, those are referred to as active or inactive items. And we handle this two different ways. So in this episode, we're going to show you how to use stock codes to both automate the process of identifying an inactive item, as well as a manual method that you can use also using stock codes. So the first thing we're going to look at is how to set this up. So you go into the inventory module, go to the second screen, you'll want to go to Setup and Control Information, and then page down until you see this screen here. On mine it's 66, it might be something different, but the flag is Stock Code Inactivity Age. Typically it'll be set to Not Used, and what this means is based on the date that the product was last sold. So I'm going to say that I want products that haven't been sold in the last 2 years to be considered inactive. Now, in addition to this, there's another set of rules that determine whether this product is inactive. So it must have 0 quantity on hand, it must have 0 quantity committed, 0 on order, and 0 on back order. So in that combination of last time it was sold and having 0 committed, etc. on hand and all that, it will consider this automatically as an inactive item. It's not deleting it, it's not going anywhere, you're not losing history, you won't be able to look up invoice history or inventory history and not see the item anymore. It's simply flagged as being an inactive item. So we've set our field here in the control file, enter our way through this and to save this off. And now we're going to take a look at the stock codes. So in the same location in the inventory, on the setup and stock codes, we're going to go into that. And you'll notice once you've enabled that, if you've used stock codes before, there's now a new field, inactive status. So I'm going to set up we're going to call this one DX. This is going to be discontinued. And I'm going to set this to inactive. Now, there's 3 options I have here. As you'll see on the bottom, I can set this to be active, force it to be inactive, or set it to N for normal. If the stock code is N for normal, what that identifies is that it uses the rules that we just set up. So it's going to say, it's going to test, has this been sold in the last 720 days? What are my quantities on hand, committed, on back order, etc.? And it's going to use that. So that's only used when the stock code status is set to N for normal. So in this case, I want to also have a stock code that forces a product to be inactive. For whatever reason, it could be in this case discontinued. You may have products that are new to your inventory, but you like say they're not going to be sold for another 6 months or something like that. So you don't want them to show up and get accidentally sold. So in this case, we're going to set this one to be inactive for a discontinued product. Again, your list can be whatever works for you in your inventory. So now, if I were to go into one of my items, and you'll see that this is an active item. It doesn't look any different. I go to the second screen, you'll notice we have our stock codes. So in this one, this is a standard stock code, and it follows the normal rules for whether a product is active or inactive. This is one we've set up. So I'm going to say that this product has now been discontinued. So I'm going to put on my DX stock code, and now if I do a lookup and if I search by item number and I put in number 10, you'll see this no longer shows up in my item list. See, there's item 9, there's item 11, and item 12 is flagged as discontinued, so it does not show up in my item list. if I were to go back and bring up product 10 again, I'm going to change the stock code to back to 01 for a standard stocking code. Now when I put a question mark in, there it is. Item number 10 is very prominent. So that's how you would use stocking codes. So again, just to reiterate, you have to first set the number of days as per the last sale date, and that's only used when when you're using the normal method of using the stock code. Then you set up your stock codes. The stock codes have to be applied to your products, and then you can also set up your inactive stock codes to force products to be inactive.